Welcome back, guys. You're watching Politically Correct with me, of course, Maya Hayakawa. The topic of discussion today is on volunteerism and entrepreneurship. With me here in studio, I have Calvin Jodisi, who is an entrepreneur and is also very passionate about volunteer work. I also have here with me the head of internship of Daystar University and does an array of other things, Dr. Okeyo. And we're here discussing volunteerism and entrepreneurship, like I said before. Before the break, I just brought out this idea of merging entrepreneurship and volunteerism. And the students couldn't seem to reconcile how that is even interrelated, because I think it's our perception that we have towards entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurism, is that even a word? Entrepreneurship is that it's money making, that we make money out of it, right? It's a money making machine.
And volunteerism is free.
Yes, and volunteerism is free. So they're just like, how does that even connect? So, could you just tell us how that connects?
I mean, it's really connect pretty well because if you look at some of the successful people, they got most of the experience actually working in a particular institution, necessarily not actually working for money. Because one of the things that when you go to a very good institution, you pretty much may go volunteer, and then maybe after that you just come and start your own business. You might actually not even go and say, I'm going to look for employment. And especially this is more like tech. You know, if you go to a tech company, see how they're doing their stuff, see how their innovation is, and actually you can be able to get that idea, get that experience, and actually be able to start something on your on a side.
Because you understand.
Yes, because you understand the whole
industry works.
How the industry works, how the all concept work. They might not actually be able to pay you, but you can say, now I have this enough experience. I'm actually going to do something on my own.
Yeah. Maybe if I can add, they say that do the work, money will come. Money usually comes and overtakes you. And initially, if you interview people who have made it in life, they started out as fixing a problem. Actually, all entrepreneurship are based on fixing a need. And look at all the businesses we have. There are models around fixing needs. There are people who are fixing our house needs. There are people who are fixing our food needs. There are people who are fixing our clothing needs, our emotional needs like WhatsApp and all the social media. And there are people who are packaging people like the media so that your esteem needs are worked on. So all of these, and if you interview all of them, as my brother said, they started out as a passion to fix out a problem. Then they hit it big, then money came and overtook them. So nobody ever started with money in mind. Actually, guys who start with money in mind, it limits you, because once you make the money, then you run out of ideas, because that's what you wanted. But if you see it as solving world problems, making it a better place, and we call it social entrepreneurship, the new right thing, social entrepreneurship, and people like...
You're solving a problem while you're also at the same time making some profits to financially sustain yourself.
Yes.
And the activities that you are volunteering in.
And again, one fact is that, you know, every entrepreneur can say, and this is maybe why they say that entrepreneurs are the richest people the volunteers are the richest people in the world. Every entrepreneur is actually a volunteer.
It's true.
Can I tell you why? Because when you're starting your business, it's just small. You have this idea, say, I want to start this. You're volunteering your time. You're not sleeping. You're spending most of your time in this. Are you pretty much maybe you're borrowing capital, you're not paying yourself, you're not doing anything tangible to yourself. You're saying that, oh, I want to focus everything and grow my business. So you might not think you're volunteering, but actually you're volunteering because you're giving all your best, your time and everything, no money. Maybe every time you're just telling your parents, please give me some money, I want to invest in this business. Every time you're called everywhere to go pitch. And when you go pitch, somebody tells you, this is a crap idea. And you go back and say, oh my goodness, will this business work? And then you go back and you volunteer and your friends comes to you and say like, oh my goodness, why are you doing with this idea? You need to quit and look a job, you know?
Yes.
And even your parents actually sees that and says like, so what are you doing? I mean, we paid your school fees for all. What are you doing? Your friends already, you know, they're working in big corporation. What are you doing? What is this idea? You know, but when your parents will see that this idea has made it, it's like, oh wow, you know, our son is now big, and they want to take you everywhere where you call for interviews or you call for awards and all that. Yeah.
And you know, Calvin, what you said is really funny about this thing of volunteerism. I do think that it starts in the home. Because what I will say is that what you tell your kids is what they grow up with. Like for me personally, I grew up in a home that was really all about volunteering. My mother personally has like a children's home in Kibera, and she would constantly always get us involved in these volunteering activities. You know, even in school, we would give out and hand out like toys that we don't need for children's homes, you know, and so on and so forth. So that even when I was in university, when I was done with school, she encouraged me to actually volunteer. She said, don't sit at home doing nothing. And then, you know, Calvin, there was something that you said that reminded me of a story that's really funny. You know, when you said entrepreneurs do not pay themselves.
Yeah.
And it's really true. And the ones that do end up failing. Because I remember there was one time my uncle, my father invested in my uncle's business and bought him a small shop of spare parts. The first stock, after he sold the first stock, do you know what he did?
Get the money.
He went and he bought meat for the whole village. And he told everyone, come, there's nyama choma.
There's a celebration
There's a celebration here because I've sold, you know, my stock out. And you know, it's just simple, small things like that that make a difference. But then now, back to the discussion.
Okay.
Now, I know that one thing, you talked about Dr. Okeyo, passion.
Yeah.
And I've had this similar experience where a lot of volunteers have this conflict between, I'm passionate about this work, I want to do the work, but on the other side, I have financial needs. I need to pay my rent, I need to eat, you know, and how can we balance the two? How what advice can you give for the people that are struggling between, you know, volunteering and earning, you know, a decent living and for it to make sense? What advice can you give?
I believe money has become very important. Actually, people say money is the number 3 item. After God, then the people, then the next thing is money. And entrepreneurs have made the world in such a way that money gives you access to resources, access to comfort, access. So it is very important. And I wouldn't say we should rubbish money. But there are many people whose those basics are already paid for. Like you live with your parents, you already have an accommodation, you already have lived decently, you don't miss a meal. This is a guy who should go out there, so that he is able to learn those experiences that those who don't have. And the other issue which you mentioned, that this thing comes from home, how do you relate to your children? Because like if you're washing a car, you pay your kids to wash a car. You know, you're telling them that whatever you do, you have to be paid. That's what you're telling them. But if you tell them, wash my car, wash the neighbor's car, and we won't pay you anything, then you say that there is a time in life that you just have to do things like that. So even the way we relate with our children, the way we relate with others, they watch and they say that this is a world where you give, I give, and there's nothing for free. So it can be developed. But money is not to be rubbish, because the means of acquisition, resource and comfort now rest on money. Even in relationship, money has become a serious issue. But that part of us that gives out, always it comes up back in bigger measure. So I still insist that we need to volunteer as much as we are looking for money as means of making our lives comfortable.
Yeah, and I think also maybe just to add something there is that again, you need to also balance the way you volunteer as well. I mean, because we have 365 days in a year, and we have 24 hours every single day. And if you look at most of the time, we waste a lot of them, the high percentage of the hours. So you can see how do you balance. You say maybe once per month I will go and volunteer in this particular place, maybe for 8 hours or for 7 hours, or once in a month I'll be helping this company do this and this and this. And we have so many people who are very knowledgeable. You can just say, I have maybe Maya has a startup, maybe she's doing something, and I'm very professional at that, and say, okay, maybe once per week, maybe 4 hours, I'll be going to help Maya build her business. And so that is actually volunteering. And you're not actually volunteering every single day. It's just like every month, Maya, I'll be helping you business development to do your business, this and this. And then that's volunteerism.
And maybe if I can add a little, if you look at Asian businesses, actually, the management transition with regard to family-owned enterprises has been very successful. You talk about the Popats, you talk about the Shahs with Bidco, you talk about the Nakumat. You find these are third generations. And if you look at the way they do, they ask the boy that when you are from school, you go to the shop and you're not paid. So you offer yourself and you start seeing that business as part of life. And you start learning the lessons very early with no pay. then you develop the passion, then you understand the business. So when it comes to transition to the next generation, you find that their business, they don't have that problem. In Africa, in Kenya, the only case that you can cite is Tuskys. Otherwise, all others we've had after the founder dies, because that volunteering, that spirit, that passion was not developed when the kid was young. They don't know what it takes to make that money. They don't know the sacrifices your parents go through to put that bread on the table, because they were not told to sacrifice or to offer themselves. So even at family settings, those who wish to run family businesses and be able to transit effectively in management succession, this spirit of volunteerism has to be developed.
I like that, the fact that volunteerism can actually help you develop yourself as a person in other areas that you can apply, that is aside from just, doing the work.
Yeah.
Allow me to just share my experience on volunteerism, and I want to see, especially for you, Calvin, if you can relate to this and identify with this. For 2 years, I actually volunteered for an NGO called Navisika Trust, where I was designing rehabilitation programs for prisons. And people have this perception that NGOs have money. They have this perception that you must have so much money. And because I was doing a lot of big programs, big events, and I was engaging with a lot of people, people would always say, wow, Maya, you're doing such a great job. And when I would say, well, actually I'm volunteering and I'm doing this for free, they just could not understand. Why are you doing this for free? Why can't you just get a job? And I said to myself, do you guys not know what passion is? And one very good advice that someone gave me is that for you to identify your passion, it has to be something that you're willing to do for free, because there is nothing that you're passionate about that you will not do for free.
Yeah, that's true.
And that is absolutely true. And for me, my motivation was being able to see the faces of the prisoners, the smile on their face, and then them saying, Maya, we need you here, and thank you for being here. It gave me that motivation to go on. But unfortunately for me, down the path and down the road, I did it for 2 years, but it came to a point where I was like, okay, I need to financially sustain myself. But what I've learned about volunteerism is that you actually learn how to run an organization in a very creative way where you actually don't need money.
Yeah, but that's true. But and again, I'm sure there's something that you get. I mean, you learn from yourself, and I think also volunteerism help in terms of compassion. And that's why if you listen to a lot of, if you look at maybe the time whereby there were a lot of missionaries, for example, for the Christians, and they used to volunteer, come and and it's a lot of compassion. For me, I think it's a learning. It helps you learn a lot, and it helps you embrace a lot of things.
As a person, right?
Yeah, as a person, it's actually built you. Yeah. Like for example, I mean, my experience when I was in the US in 2013, and I went to volunteer and pretty much travel. It's a very good volunteer program. And we actually used to do fundraising for the organization that we went to volunteer with. And one of the things that we could actually do is you could actually go to door. So I'm knocking at somebody's door and say, hey, my name is Calvin, I'm from this, I'm volunteering with this organization, and we are raising funds to do this and this. And so some people will be like, wow, Calvin, this is nice, you're doing a good job. And some people will be like, oh,
that's so true.
Yeah.
Should be getting money.
We're running out of time here, but then I just want to ask a quick question, because I experience this a lot. Would you get frustrated by people? Would you get frustrated by how lazy people are, or how selfish people are, or how people can't seem to give of themselves? Would that frustrate you? Because I would take it so personally, to the point that I actually had to check myself and be like, okay, Maya, people have a choice. You can't force them to volunteer.
And that's how you grow, Maya, because when you go, for example, someone, and then you've gone to ask them, and they don't support you, they actually don't believe in you, they feel like, you don't deserve to go to them, it's actually built you. And so according to my experience, there's sometimes I used to go, and I could spend like maybe even, because there's a time we used to like do fundraising the whole day. And I start in the morning up to even 2 o'clock, nobody's given supported us in anything. And then you just walk to one particular person and it's like, oh, I love what you guys are doing. And here's a check, $200 check given you. And I say, you're doing a good job, And these people, if you read to their story, they will tell you, actually, my daughter was in Africa. She was actually doing this and this and this. And they feel the connection, But maybe some of the people that you go to that actually totally have no volunteer experience, they'll be like, oh, so you're from Africa, where's Kenya, and all those kind of stuff. And they just don't identify with that. And for me, I think personally, it kind of helped me grow, because you face rejections, you face love, you face all these mix, and it just helps you grow to become a better person.
Thank you so much for that. We need to take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk about internships, right? Because you're the head of internship in Daystar University, and it was interesting to see what our students had to say about, you know, going for unpaid internship. So keep it tuned here at TVC. You're watching Politically Correct.